Greetings and welcome to another edition of Friday at 420. My name is Mike Neighbors, your host for the next 40 minutes as we attempt to make you laugh, give yourself a little bit of a good time as we head into the weekend. And we have a very special guest with us, so we're very excited to be here with you on this Friday at 420. Before we get to our special guest, let's get to our panel. And as usual, I always start with the number one guy, Patrick Coppolino.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno, Patrick. How are you?
I'm good. It's
excellent.
Beautiful day outside, and I'm going to spend it inside.
You're like a mushroom now, right? I mean, you literally don't even want to come out of the dark.
No, I'm perfectly fine in here.
Now, prior to the pandemic, you spent a lot of time in comedy clubs and sleeping most of the day and staying up late at night. So,
yeah,
I don't think the dark is really a stranger to you. Really, daylight would be more.
No, I've adapted quite easily to this lifestyle.
To this lockdown.
This is fine.
To the hermit.
Speaking
style.
of adapting, Manolis Zontanos has been forced to adapt as he is still suffering the lingering effects of COVID-19. Caught it a couple of weeks ago. Don't even want to get into the super spreader he was involved in that caused him to catch freaking COVID. But Manolis, how are you feeling now? Are things getting a little bit better? Is it a little brighter in your world? Have you been able to pull one off more than once a day? What's the deal?
I'm jerking off more, definitely.
Excellent.
But
good. That's a good sign.
I'm like super because I live with my parents and they're like, my dad's obsessed with the idea of like, how can I kill myself? So he's like, I'm just quarantined down here, as you can see, right? He wants to come. There's a gym over here that he uses. He wants to work. He's like, I come down to work out today, okay? I'm like, I have COVID. He's like, I don't care. I'm like, what do you mean you don't care? I don't care. So it's 8:30 this morning. Today, I had to leave. Because he won't listen to me. So I got all my clothes on, and I left my house at 8:30 in the morning and walked. I just walked the neighborhood for an hour so my dad could just be down here without me in it. And I'm like,
but you've still been there. Your stew is still all around.
Yeah. Well, what else? It's better than nothing. I don't know what else to do because he's going to come down anyways.
That's hilarious.
Well, listen, we you know what? It's a good reason for people to tune in week to week to find out if Manolis's dad survives.
Is it okay to drink beer?
Yeah, go ahead. Knock yourself out, buddy. You're
not going to taste it. You're not going to taste it anyway.
No, not for a long time. Ladies and gentlemen, we are super thrilled to have him as a special guest. We've never had him on the show before. We've been trying for a while. Please welcome to the show, Jean-Paul. Jean, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks, Mike. This is probably the closest to a mic I'll get in this pandemic, being a comedian. So, but all is well. All is well.
You know what? Not totally true because you get close to a mic every Tuesday. You do a little show. And we're going to let people know all about that show and where they can find it and how they can check it out because I understand it's very funny. I haven't had a chance to check it out myself yet. Jean-Paul, talk to me just a little bit about what it's been like coming off the road. You spent a lot of time on the road, a lot of time performing, and then suddenly you run into this damn pandemic, right? And for a very long time, you've had quite a break.
Yeah, the rest was nice probably for like the first 2 months, just because, a lot of the times, like when you think about the amount of time you spend on the road, like driving somewhere for like 4 hours to do like 45 minutes of comedy to drive another 4 hours back, you're just like, this is ridiculous. So it was not, it was a nice rest, but I've had enough of this rest and I'm ready to get back to, telling jokes and making people feel uneasy.
Was it helpful? was it helpful for the writing process? I mean, do you kind of find yourself with a bunch of material you really are dying to get out there and try, or has it been a less creative time because it's been so odd and weird?
I mean, fear of death is probably the worst inspiration for comedy, but you find a few gems in between. But there have been moments. There have been moments. You know what I mean? So it's almost like you get a small window of clarity to be able to kind of all the things that you've written down on napkins and your tiny little notebooks that you're like, oh, here's all the jokes and premises I think I'll try that you never do, that now you're forced to go through them, and so it's been kind of nice. It's been kind of nice from that aspect, and now it's like just chomping at the bit.
There's also something about, and I think we've all been through this, whether you're a comedian or whether you're another type of creative person or whether you're Patrick. We've all been through a process where we've had to kind of look at ourselves a little bit. We've had to kind of spend a lot more time with just ourselves than we maybe, there was always distractions. And so, I think maybe some good can come out of that. Would you agree?
Yes. But I mean, the shitty part about it is being forced into that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And being forced into any situation is never really a good way to want to then, turn that into something else. But I mean, if you can somehow rationalize that in your head, then it is a good thing. But for the most part, for people like me and Patrick and Manolis, we're good at being on our own. We're good at being, solitaire and shit. Mostly because Manolis goes to jail a lot, but it's I've made do. I figured out how to make it work for myself.
Figured out a way. All right, our special guest is Jean-Paul, JP, and Manolis Patrick. We are going to start our little game called Friday at 420. In my hand, I have 12 random envelopes with 12 random topics, and we are going to jump in right away. This first topic is for you, Jean-Paul. It is topic number 10, and that is, what do you remember as a child as being the best kids show? Not what's the best kids show today, if you have kids or you're around kids or nieces and nephews and stuff. I want to remember what you remember as a child as being the best kids show.
So it's going to be two for me. It's going to be a show I used to watch in the afternoon called Battle of the Planets, which was like my first introduction to like anime, and another anime show called Force 5, which had shows like Grandizer Go and Jesse Dart and all that kind of stuff. So I'll say Force 5 and Planet. I was gonna say Planet of the Apes, Battle of the Planets.
So you took to anime right away, did you?
I didn't know that's what it was. I just thought it was like, really cool cartoon. It was real high techy stuff, right? I didn't even know Japanese people existed back then. So, I just thought everyone was Filipino.
You know what? I'm an older dude. And so my entryway to anime was like Sailor Moon. So my kids were watching Sailor Moon, and I was kind of like, no, that was as close as I got to anime. So yes, my kids.
Right. Right.
They were like really hot. They were like the Spice Girls. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd stop talking. I think you just got canceled.
This
episode won't even air.
Won't even go on the air. Patrick Coppolino, what do you remember as a kid as being the best kid show, the one you couldn't miss?
The one that I used to watch all the time after school was Full House.
Oh man,
that's every day.
I am way older than
Full
you.
House. Yeah,
I was Gilligan's Island after school.
Yeah, so was I.
No, this was like mid '90s. Full House, which is funny because now Fuller House is out, and my daughter, who's 9, that's like all she watches. She's seen that whole show like she's on her like 12th time watching the whole series.
Now, is there a way, or has she seen the original Full House as well?
It's all on Netflix.
All
She's seen the whole thing, but she prefers the newer one. But yeah,
one of the funniest things in the world to me was I'd seen again with kids, and I'd seen Full House and stuff like that, and I wasn't introduced to Bob Saget's comedy until after knowing him from Full House.
Okay,
and when you learn about Bob Saget that way, it's whoa.
Yeah, you expect Danny Tanner, and you get the complete opposite.
If you reversed it, right? If you knew Bob Saget's comedy and then saw Full House, you go, oh, he's acting. But I mean, I was the other way around, right? I'm like going, that's my God. You figure an actor's probably somewhat similar to the character, and then you see him, you hear him on stage. He's so disgusting.
Yeah, because he hosted America's Funniest Home Videos, and he was basically Danny Tanner on that.
Correct.
On there too.
Yeah.
It's a paycheck. My equivalent to that would be Red Fox and Sanford and Son. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's like I always thought Fred Sanford, bam, 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 and then you see this like, oh my God, this is crazy.
John Paul, do you know that story about when he was in Vegas?
In Vegas, it's one of my favorite stories.
Can you tell it?
So at the height of Red Fox and being Sanford on Sanford and Son, the theme, for anybody who remembers the theme music, it was like bam, bam, bam. So he comes out to do a live show in Vegas, and there's a live band. So he's like, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Red Fox, and then the band, live band, and he walks out, in his suit and all Vegased out, the kind of rose-colored sunglasses and shit, and he sees like 12 people in the audience, and the first thing that comes out of his mouth is, Red Fox don't perform for no 12 people, and he walks off stage, and then there's like a awkward beat, and then the band just looks at each other and they're like, oh,
that is gold. Oh. And the best part of it is Red's attitude. You knew Red,
my God,
like he just wasn't going to take any shit from anybody, right?
Oh yeah, that's the beauty.
Oh
of it,
man, what a guy!
That's not even the IRS. Anyway, that's
I
another
would
story.
certainly- You know what? It would be interesting. I think now a lot of the things that you see happening in the world, the social media, like all that, the cancel culture and all that kind of stuff, to get somebody like Red Fox to comment on some of those things now would be fascinating to see what.
There's
like,
a ton.
that would
There's a
think
ton
about
of people, like even and they recently just aired. I think it's still on cable. The Patrice O'Neill, and his recent documentary they have on him called "Killing Is Easy." It would be awesome to see a dude like Patrice O'Neill and Red Fox comment on what's going on now.
Oh yeah,
so it'd be really interesting.
Really cool.
So.
Manoli, from your childhood, the TV show you thought was the best show as a kid.
this is gonna blow your mind. You're gonna remember this. You Can't Do That on TV.
Yeah, that was on YTV.
Yeah, remember that
with Alanis Morissette.
Was she on that?
She was on that.
No way. You Can't Do That on television.
Yeah,
and it was a bunch of
Canadian kids.
Canadian kids, like high school kids, like in like kind of like in a high school, and there's all these weird skits, and
it was like Mad TV for Canadian kids.
Yeah, and it was and it was like they'd all be there would be a segment where they're all in
lockers, right? Hey there, and they look, what is that?
Yeah,
it was great slapstick.
Like
it was awesome.
Like,
yeah,
they used to do a laughing, right?
The green slime, yeah. And there was also
I never saw
Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon stole that from us.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so the TV was so ahead of their time, right? And I remember just watching it as a kid I just remember going, there's something really cool about this. Like I was like, it almost
you
seemed
knew
like
it was avant-garde, yeah.
Yeah, it was somehow like, how did this get made? I'm surprised that I'm allowed to watch this. It's like, it's not shitty.
It was really good.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And there was
Patrick has no idea what we're talking about.
No, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, and there's also Kid, which was a little cheesy, but I just kind of like the name. It was remember this one? Kids Are People Too.
That's not the cooking one, is it?
No, it was just about this talking. There was an audience of kids, and they'd have different guests, and they would just talk to them and show different stupid things. And it was kids. It was just saying kids are people too. Like,
so they're treating them like adults, right? Like treating them like they had an opinion, that their opinion matters. They're not stupid kids.
Yeah.
Very Jeffrey Epstein. That is treating kids like adults.
Yeah. That's going to get you in trouble.
Kids are adults too.
There's no such thing as too soon, John Paul. All right. Well, we've covered that topic, and you know what? I whenever Jeffrey Epstein's mentioned, I like to end the topic on that note, and we'll just move on to a new topic. So this one,
okay, Sailor Moon.
Right? It's not even his daughters behind him in the pictures.
Hey, who are those girls?
All right, you guys. All right, let me this topic on Friday at 4:20 with our special guest JP. This one for you, Patrick Coppolino. Tell me a fruit you can't eat. A fruit that you can't. I mean, there's fruit you don't necessarily like, but then there's a fruit that you can't. There's no way in a million years I'm going to get you to eat.
I don't think there's any that I can't eat, but no? I don't enjoy the texture of pineapple. I like the flavor, but like I don't typically. If there's a platter of fruits and there's pineapple, that's the one I probably won't touch.
You're going to avoid that?
Yeah.
That's been in the news this week because I guess the Prime Minister came out with a tweet saying that pineapple on a pizza is a national treasure. It was invented in Canada in Chatham. And
of course, that explains it.
How do you feel about pineapple on pizza, Patrick? Would that throw you off?
I've had it. It's not bad.
It's okay. It's not.
It's okay.
There's some people who are totally against.
But again,
I love
if there are options, I probably won't grab it. But if that's the only pizza, I'll eat it.
I love it.
That's
I love it, man.
JP, give me a fruit that you just won't go near.
RuPaul. Okay. I don't even know if you guys might have to edit that out. But
there's no editing on this. We're incapable of editing this show, John Paul.
Kumquats.
Kumquats. Excellent. That's what Manolis was doing just before the show.
The S is silent.
Not anymore.
That's how we got COVID.
Do you honestly, kumquats is just a fun word to say. Honestly, you wouldn't go near kumquats?
So some people are visual eaters.
Right.
It just sounds like it would be gross. And I'm not trying to go with the intonation of, hey guys, you know where I'm going with this. But it just doesn't sound appealing to me.
It's
really
a real
doesn't.
thing.
Kumquats, yeah, man.
But it's just, isn't it just like a berry of some kind? Or it's
See,
like
the thing is, I never even did the research.
Oh,
That's how
it's like a grape kind of.
I thought it was more like a kiwi.
See that now I got to Google.
More like a kiwi.
Nobody knows. I'm pretty
That's
sure it's
more
like
like
a
a
grape. It's like a grape with like a leaf on it.
It's a group of small fruit-bearing trees in the flowering. Nobody knows. What is it though? Nobody cares. Yeah, it kind of looks like an orange. Almost. No, it looks weird. Like an orange and a peach had a baby.
Ooh, wow.
But it says the edible fruit closely resembles the orange in color and shape, but is much smaller, being approximately the size of a large olive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank God. We're not going near that for sure now.
Yeah.
Manoli,
they need better branding.
Give me a fruit that you won't go near.
I don't know if this is a fruit, but I don't like going near apples.
Really?
Because is that a fruit?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because when I was in high school, I used to always have to eat, like, my mom would make me peanut butter sandwiches and apples in my lunch, and I would never have a drink. So I'd have to, like,
the juice out of the apple.
Yeah. So like,
instead of giving you an orange that has actual juice.
Right. So yeah, my mom gave up on me by the time I got to high school, and like, so like the peanut butter would be stuck in the back of my throat and it dry, and then I'd have to like chew on the apple to try to get the like the rest of the food down.
And it's clearly trying to kill you. Is this before or after the giant eye episode?
This is after the eye episode. That eye thing already happened.
I think that changed everything. I think. I think the Igor era changed.
I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with the giant eye episode. Could somebody enlighten me?
But I will. Before I tell you the eye thing, also there's 3 times in my life that I almost choked on the skin. I choked on the skin of the apple, and I almost died. And so after the 3rd time, like, I was like, no one could help me. I was like it was stuck, and I'm like looking for help, and no one would help me because everybody's a bunch of idiots. This is the 80s too, right?
Maybe they just thought it was natural selection, man.
Yeah, and then I popped it out, and like after about the 3rd time, I'm like, I just remember going, apples are not for me.
No good.
So
no good.
I don't eat apples anymore because I'm just afraid.
Who chokes on apple skin?
3 times. One time I was going to put my, like, I know how to save someone from choking if they're like
Heimlich.
Yeah, but I was gonna put my arms here, and I was gonna run into a wall one time.
Yeah,
give yourself the Heimlich.
Natural selection. That's what. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But the eye thing, Mike, is when I got the ball in my eye popped out. Remember, Mike?
Oh, yeah. I remember now. That's the girl penis cover, right? Is the picture with your eye all swollen up?
Yeah.
And his eye was swollen.
Yeah. JP, listen, I gotta, before we continue with our little game here, I do want to talk to you a little bit about the kitchen table, and not just any kitchen table. This is a podcast.
Correct.
It's available on Tego TV, TEGOTV.com.
Correct.
Talk to me about the kitchen table and what that's about and what we can expect.
Basically it's a show I start. So I have a friend who's in a really successful, people may not know what soca music is, but it's like music that's indigenous to, my background, which is Trinidad and Tobago, real, kind of islandly infectious music. And one of the most successful bands at the moment right now is a band called Kess the Band. And my boy, who's my partner on the show, Kitchen Table, he's the drummer on the show, Hans Diefenthaler. He's a black dude with a German name. Go figure. Nice. And he's from Trinidad and Tobago. So we just decided, because whenever they're in town to perform, we'd go out for drinks and drink some scotch and then have these conversations. We're like, why don't we do a podcast? It would be really interesting. So the pandemic hit, and much like everyone else, we just kind of wanted to see if we had chemistry. We did. And we just continued doing them every Tuesday on IG. So we were doing it on Instagram Live. And we had like really great guests, man, like an eclectic mix of guests. And the reason we call it the kitchen table is because everything happens at the kitchen table. You get your heart broken, talk about politics, you eat, you get drunk, interventions. Like it's like the home bar, right? So we call it the kitchen table because everything gets discussed on it. And we've had really cool guests. Russell Peters has passed through, probably one of the greatest cricketers in the entire world, Dwayne Bravo. We've had Finesse Mitchell of SNL, Gina Yashere, comedian out in LA. We've had this guy who is one of the most unknown but world-class music producers. He's produced like Michael Jackson, Wu-Tang Clan, stuff like that. So we just have these really cool conversations at the kitchen table. So every Tuesday.
That sounds like a totally awesome time, and it is amazing, right? That something like the kitchen table, not that long ago would not have been able to have found its legs because of things like Zoom calls, because you can have guests from all over the world without them leaving their home.
It's literally what it is.
This amazing communication.
It's literally what it is.
We never had before.
It's been awesome. And even the people that we've remotely been able to get, I never thought I would have, been able to do that kind of thing, So, and they're just really cool. So it kind of starts off, what we didn't want was it for to be a Wikipedia type show, one of those. So in 1978, when you won that award, tell us about that, So we obviously want to let people know who they were at the beginning of the podcast, just to give them a little bit of, legs to see who they are. And then we try to go organically into conversation, and so far we've been lucky. It's been real fun.
It is an amazing time for those kinds of conversations. Please check it out. It's called The Kitchen Table. Tego TV, TEGOTV.com is where you'll find that. JP and Hans
Diefendauer
every Tuesday.
Hilarious.
You can check out a new episode, and I'm guessing their previous episodes are available there as well. We can go check out.
So here's the funny thing. We're now starting to, because we just Tego asked us to be a part of them at the beginning of the year. And so we finally got our first. So we have a ton of backlogged episodes that we have to load up.
But you're slowly releasing. Okay.
Yeah. So this
That's
week,
awesome.
Yeah, the Tuesday we just passed, since this is Friday.
Yep.
We just had a DJ by the name of DJ Rastaroot, who's he's a music producer, and he produced, Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah.
So he was the manager, official DJ for Phife Dawg, who was in Tribe Called Quest, and so he was on the show, and it was fantastic. Great dude. A lot of stories. So
very cool stuff. The Kitchen Table. Check it out, tegotv.com. And while you're checking out your streaming services, don't forget you can always find previous episodes of Friday at 420. Some close to 200 of them are up. And I can't believe we're taking up all that digital space with what we've produced, but whatever. We don't care, do we, Manolis?
You guys are the Kardashians of digital airwaves.
How are they still going?
Jamming stuff up there.
Way too many black guys on that show.
I meant you guys, not the Kardashians, but you know what I mean.
Absolutely. All right. Let's get to our next topic on this Friday at 420 with JP, our special guest. And for this one, this is topic number 7. Patrick, I'm going to go to you. Give me an appetizer you love. An appetizer you love. We're coming. It's the all food episode apparently.
Yeah.
But give me an appetizer that you love to start your meal with.
Bruschetta.
Oh, really?
Are you even pronouncing it correctly?
Bruschetta.
You're the worst Italian in the world, man.
I know.
Who are you, Freddie
I'm like, I
Proya?
haven't said that word.
It's interesting with bruschetta too, because you can get good and bad. I mean, bruschetta is one of those things that is not always. It's not a lock that it's going to be good.
Correct.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's so many factors that could go wrong. You could have the perfect toppings with tomatoes and stuff, but the bread or it's like
this wasn't there.
Part rock or styrofoam. The bread could be great, but the toppings could be in. Is it too oily? Not enough oil? It's like, why is it falling off?
That's my. JP knows exactly my.
Way too much work, man.
With bruschetta.
My mouth is up here.
JP, what's your issue with or what? Not your issue. What's your favorite appetizer? What's the one you look for before you?
I don't know if this is and it's not clearly it's not available at most places, but one of my favorite appetizers to order is and this is gonna sound insanely bougie, and it's not just because I live in Ajax, but seared ahi tuna, man. Like I love ahi tuna. I love seafood. I love fish, but seared ahi tuna is like
what is that?
So
What is tuna?
tuna.
Is it tuna?
Manoli's
Yeah,
not
but
wrong.
not
I've
like
never
not
had
like
it.
how you get it in the can where it's flaked. It's like a it's like a cut of fish, like a cut of like
Okay.
the steak version cut of fish. You know what I mean? It's
Just
nice and
lightly
thin.
fried,
and then just touch it on the hot frying pan. Ah, that's enough. Ah, okay, there we go. And then you put it on a
That's good.
plate and dribble some other stuff around it, whether it be like some kind of
Some bruschetta.
seafood, some
What-
bruschetta.
Well, we've got you talking your favorite foods. Give me something that somebody not from Trinidad, Tobago originally, not from that culture, should try. What's
Roti,
something?
man, roti
Roti?
for sure. Are
I've
you
never
kidding
tried
me?
roti. What
Are
is
you
that?
serious?
Yeah, no. Never.
Oh my
Me neither.
god!
I like
That's-
how pale I am.
none of you.
I've never. No, I've never.
So
Don't even know.
basically,
Roti, yeah.
so basically, it looks like a really floppy pita bread. I'm explaining it in white people terms,
I
so you can
appreciate
get a
that.
visual. So it's like giant floppy pita breads, but really flat and pliable. And you fill that with like, and it could be anything, but it's usually curry. So usually I love it with like curry potato. You could put even curried pumpkin and whatever choice of meat you can have. So you can have like boneless curry beef, curry goat, curry chicken, curry shrimp, you know what I mean? And then they wrap it into like this giant sandwich you have to hold with two hands, and then you bite into it and it's just it's so good. Roti, just Google roti in Hamilton. I'm sure there's got to be a place.
Yeah,
there's enough Caribbean people in Hamilton that there's got to be a decent restaurant there.
Yeah, there's a place called Islands actually downtown, and there was one called Yaman that had really good
Yaman
roti.
or a Yaman.
I think it's Yaman. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, roti. We'll check it out.
Yeah.
Manoli, what's your appetizer of choice? What are you going for with the appetizer?
Calamara, but like in Greece.
Is it called calamari for real? And we just butchered it and called it calamari?
Oh wait, sorry, calamari.
You're thinking
Whatever.
Kalamata.
No, in Kalamata, calamari. What Jean Paul said. Calamari.
Wow.
You
You
know,
are the
like,
worst.
Calamari.
Calamari.
You guys are equally horrible at your cultures.
How do I say it?
Calamara. And the guy got all cocky with it, dude. Calamara. Yeah.
Calamara.
He's like, "Do you
Let's
mean
get some
calamari?"
bruschetta
Yes.
and calamara.
Manolis is going with the seared tuna.
but from a can.
Yeah.
Yeah, from a can.
He just fries it.
I love sun-kissed seared tuna.
But in
Is
Greece,
that
it's
chunk
so,
light?
it's so good, dude. It's so all food is good in Greece, but
Oh, totally.
So calamari is.
I love
that's-
calamari,
That's
too.
the octopus, right?
It's great.
Yeah.
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 Squid, baby.
Squid. So not technically octopus, squid.
Technically, no. See what I did there? Okay, stop it. This is ridiculous.
This very much is. This is Friday at 420. Always ridiculous. Extra ridiculous with JP today. So we appreciate him dropping by. Patrick and Manolis. And this topic, brand new topic on this Friday at 420. It is topic number, I don't even know which topic. Number 5. Topic number 5 for JP. How about this?
Let's do it.
Boom. JP, tell me about the last thing that broke down on you. Some piece of equipment, something in your life that broke down. I just recently had something break down on me, and so now I'm interested. What was the last thing that you remember breaking down on you?
My spirit has been broken. The last thing that broke down on me, probably my car, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you run into some issues with it?
Oh no, you mean like recently, right?
Well, I'm just trying to think of the last thing. You know how there's things go around the house, things just break down eventually, and they don't make things like they used to. That phrase usually comes up at some point. So I'm just curious, the last thing you could think of that broke down on you. But if you can't think of anything,
I'd say my
would...
bike, man. If I can include that, the crank broke off of my bike. But did you mean around the house? Is that what you meant?
No, that's cool.
Oh yeah,
Your
my
bike's
bike.
cool.
Yeah, my bike, and I was mad.
Talk to me a little bit about your bike. What do you drive?
It's I call him Frankie, short for Frankenstein, because it's like a piece together bike with like a Norco frame and tires and like these weirdly painted handlebars. So I dig it. I feel less bad about riding, putting it through a lot when I go riding and stuff like that. So
Have you had a chance to get out riding since we had some nice weather there the last little while?
Correct.
Yeah.
I had Frankie fixed, and I've been out a few times, because it was nice last week, man. It was nice.
And
it's really nice.
And it's nice. It's always that first couple of rides of the year are
Correct.
always really cool, right? Because you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I remember all the things I love about that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was great.
Awesome.
But I'm out of shape. It's great.
That's right. Manoli, last thing you remember breaking down around the house?
I remember my car breaking down, but I think it was more my fault because I was in high school. I had this old car and it was burning oil, like really bad. Yeah.
The most recent thing was in high school.
Well, it's just the most dramatic that's popped in my brain because
dramatic. The most dramatic thing that broke down on you. Okay, change the topic. Go ahead.
Manolis has been in a coma for the last 20 years.
I was so sick of buying oil that
Who are you, the Syrians? Anyway, let's not.
I parked a block away from a 7-Eleven, and I let with my car running, and my friend was sitting in the passenger seat, and I said I'll be right back, and I hopped this fence, and I ran up to the where you get gas from at 7-Eleven, and I grabbed 12 quarts of oil.
Damn.
And I ran, and I stole it.
You said it ran. Anyway, that's.
And then I took off with all this oil, so thinking like perfect, right? Doesn't matter that my car burns oil anymore. The next day, literally the next day, my engine seized.
Oh, that's the worst, man.
Payback, karma.
Yeah, I know,
man. Oh.
CARMA.
Oh yeah, karma. Patrick Coppolino, the last thing that broke down around your house or when you were 18?
Yeah, most recently, I think it was 1984. Most recently, the most annoying thing in my house was my toilet broke like a year ago. It was like last March, and it's not like completely broken, but it was it just like between flushes it would take like an hour before it would flush again.
Oh wow.
And like with 3 people in here, that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
So at first they wouldn't fix it because it was like just when like the COVID thing started, so they didn't want to send anybody and they were being cautious, so that was fine. And then the management company for this building is the worst. Like it literally took like endless emails and phone calls, and then finally, like a month ago in February, they finally sent someone to come fix it, and then the guy that fixed it ended up breaking it. It was even worse. Wow. Now he's like, now you have no toilet. It's just started pouring out water at the side, and so he had to turn the water off. And he's like, you got no toilet now, so he's like, we'll have to wait till like tomorrow. I'll have to come fix it because it was too late for him to get a part. So I'm like, now it's even worse than it was before you got here. So then I actually gave it a shot and was able to fix it myself, and it was like the only thing I've ever fixed in my life, and I was so proud of myself for fixing it. And then I complained that the guy broke it, so then the management company called. I actually got a hold of someone like a regional manager or something for this company, and then he offered to he heard that it was broken now, so he offered to replace it with a brand new one. So then I unfixed what I did so that it was still broken. Hilarious. And then they put a brand new toilet in, so now everything's good, but it only took a year.
Wow.
You're like that Facebook post, say you're from Hamilton without saying you're from Hamilton.
Yeah, so my toilet.
Since you brought it up, JP, talk to me a little bit about what it's like playing in Hamilton, the Hamilton area. What are the odds like?
Here's the crazy part. I, as a city, absolutely adore Hamilton, and I know it, and I'm not even making fun of. So, being an immigrant kid and my family being immigrants to Canada, my aunt and my uncle, so it's my dad's sister, they moved to Hamilton early in the 70s, and they worked for like McMaster, and my uncle was a teacher. So my cousins grew up there. So I used to go to Hamilton in the summer all the time. So I know like all the cool spots. I used to go to the dairy in Stony Creek. I was there when the wave pool was, when it opened, you know what I mean? Not even like later on, like I was there.
Wow.
Yeah, man. So Hamilton's one of my favorite. They went to Catherine of Siena, and I think one of them went to St. Thomas More for high school up on the mountain. Yeah, we used to go to the drive-in. So I got nothing but love. So here's the story I'll tell you about. And I think this is what endeared me to I spent a summer in Hamilton with my cousins because they're around the same age. And I'm not lying. I'm not saying this for a fact. I'm not making this up. I went to something called Black Summer Camp in Hamilton. I swear to God, it was just black kids. And we used to take the bus. Is there a Barton Street bus or something?
Yeah.
So we used to take so we used to take, it really was shit. So speaking of number 2, it was horrible. So we used to take the bus downtown, and I remember we used to go, but it was great. They used to take us on field trips. They used to take us swimming. We used to do arts and crafts, but it was all black kids in Hamilton.
Was it actually called?
Yeah, it was called Black Summer Camp. And it was probably all
was it
the
run
black
by
people.
White people?
No, oh God, no. That would have been a
Oh,
plantation. No. That would have been horrible.
That is awesome. Well, listen, Hamilton loves you, Jean-Paul. We appreciate you.
Great crowds too, man. Great comedy crowds.
We appreciate you taking some time out of your day and hanging out with us. As soon as we can get Levity back open again, we'd love for you to come out and be our guest and have some fun with us.
You guys are fun, man. Are we done?
You know what? We're wrapping this thing up. I just want to give the kitchen table one more plug on Tego TV, TEGOTV.com.
Correct.
Check out the kitchen table. Our friend Jean-Paul is the co-host on that with Hans.
And if you also want to see what I'm up to, check me out on Instagram. It's probably the most recent things that I'm always doing. It's at Jean-Paul Comedy on Instagram, or Jean Paul if you want to pronounce it properly. Jean Paul Comedy, Jean-Paul Comedy on Instagram, and get to see what's going on in my life, man. I'm a pretty
awesome.
cool dude. You'll dig
Give
it.
him a follow. We would appreciate it if you would. Manolis, anything you want to say to wrap up the show?
Yeah, and you said there's an actual app that I can download to go to your podcast. Is that what you said, Jean-Paul?
Correct. It's called Tego TV, TEGO TV. Just Google that as the app.
Get the app, and then you can access the episodes.
You can see it on the phones and stuff.
Easy
man, it's pretty cool.
peasy.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Used to be my
Patrick, you all good?
Yeah, all good.
Got
Levity's
anything
still
to add?
closed. No, just go
Levity's-
to levitycomedyclub.com. There's a sorry we're closed page. You can look at that if you want.
Yeah,
We
man.
love-
I can't wait to do the club, dude. I was
we'd love
so
to have you.
happy. I was so happy when you did that, because you're just one of those dudes who have a genuine love for comedy and comedians. So I'm glad it was you and not somebody else who really didn't care about comedy. So shout out to you, man.
Thanks,
Can't
man.
wait till it opens.
Yeah,
we are all
love to have
looking very much forward to it. And that does it for this edition of Friday at 420. Thank you so much for watching. It's because of you that we do this show. So thank you. Remember, share it. Go back and watch the old episodes on any of the streaming services. And as a special request, Jean-Paul, as we head off into the weekend, I'm going to get you, if you wouldn't mind, just give me a little Sanford and Son on our way out of here. Could you give me a little?
Yeah. John Paul don't do no Sanford and Son for nobody.
We'll get a chance to talk to you again in 7 days.
Thank you, Mike.
Weekend.
Woo!